was misleading because the deer took off when I started talking about Davis Mills. I was like, no. It's different now. It's a different offense. He looks really, really good. And it's one of the things I'm excited about. And this Texans matchup, I'm up here on my wife's father-in-law land in Portville, New York. I don't know if you can quite see the view behind there. A lot of Canadian wildfire smoke sifting down here. I don't know if they'll have any of that up in Minnesota, but we all remember the deer could have taken off. If I had told them about the time last year that the Texans were in field goal position versus the Vikings, and then they had 4 straight pre-snap penalties that knocked them out of field goal position, those are my memories of the Minnesota Vikings. Obviously, they're not going to face a whole bunch of the starters, although they will likely face J.J. McCarthy, the rookie quarterback. Not worried about the defense. I think the second string defense is going to be just fine. I'm genuinely excited to watch Davis Mills, not just because I think he's looked good so far in camp, but because he's formed a nice connection with Jaden Higgins and Jalen Knoll. So if you want to see good production out of your young draft picks, but you're not starting your starting quarterback, which I'm guessing is going to be the case, then you can at least have a veteran quarterback in there who's got a connection with them, can read defenses, especially Brian Flores. Even though it's the preseason, Brian Flores, the defensive coordinator of the Vikings, is he's not, for him to dial it back in the preseason is still pretty damn exotic. Okay, it's like a Puritan lady lifting her skirt to show her ankle. It can still be scintillating. It's not going to be quite the classic Brian Flores, I'm guessing. But Davis Mills, for a couple of reasons. One, just it's good to have a good backup quarterback. Two, if Davis Mills looks good in the preseason, there's always a potential trade scenario somewhere down the line when teams get desperate for quarterbacks. Another thing that would involve Davis Mills being out there and being advantageous to the rookies is for Woody Marks. Woody Marks has done some nice things in camp so far. This will be the first time we see him in live NFL action, so I'm excited to see him. The rest of the offense, really what all of us are concerned about, is the offensive line. And can they play with physicality? Can they execute properly? Can they not have 4 pre-snap penalties in a row? It's a huge development and advancement over last year if they can just clean up the execution. In the scrimmage the other day, I thought they ran a clean operation. The 1s, the 2s, the 3s, the quarterback was out of the huddle. They were up at the line of scrimmage with plenty of time to operate. All of those things that the offense just didn't really do a good job of last year. That looked good. The offensive line on Tuesday and Thursday, when they were in pads, it was a walkthrough on Wednesday. They played with some physicality. And I was talking to John Harris today and just other people that were out there. It really did feel like the first couple weeks of camp were all about installing the offense, getting the execution down. Remember, Bobby Sloag would get up last year and complain about the execution almost as if like he had outsourced it to somebody else. Like, oh no, that's somebody else's concern. The play calls are fine. What's the old saying? A brilliant plan poorly executed will beat by a mediocre plan well executed any day of the week. I'm in the mood for that. Give me humdrum but well executed. But they were installing and then meanwhile trying to go against a really vicious defense, and you got the results where it looked awful by and large in the first couple weeks of camp. This week in West Virginia, it started to look a lot better. I know I should have mentioned C.J. Gardner-Johnson. The good news is he could potentially be back by the beginning of the season. You know why? I didn't mention it because it's such bullshit that. I mean, I've seen people say, Texans dodged a bullet on this one. Did they really? I mean, he had an injury. We didn't know exactly what it was, but then there were false reports out at one point that it was an Achilles, and another point it was an ACL. So did they genuinely dodge a bullet? It looks like they got his knee banged up in practice. It was somber and quiet out there when he got injured. So I'm not acting like there wasn't some alarm, especially by the response of the team where everybody was huddled around him. It was dead quiet, silence on the field as he was carted off. But it does look like the worst case scenario that we had played out in our mind was that he wasn't going to be available at all. Now he might be there for the Rams. Well, the Rams have a whole bunch of injury concerns of their own. But we're talking about the Vikings here, my friends. The offensive line, I hope all the starters except Titus Howard play. Cam Robinson, and Laken Tomlinson. Laken Tomlinson is a 10-plus year vet who's only missed 1 game in his entire career. And yet, is a veteran in his 30s. He probably shouldn't be playing right now. I kind of want the whole starting offensive line to get out there and get as much cohesiveness as possible, but I'll live with it if we don't. They showed good push in that scrimmage. It sprung open the play action. I liked that. I liked it a lot. The blue lines here, by the way, are the sap lines for my father-in-law's maple syrup business. They've got, it's over 1,000 trees tapped on this hill up here, and in his like 70 acres or so that he has. And all those sap lines run from the maple syrup down to the sap house, which is named because that's where they make the syrup. And the sugar house. He calls it the sugar house. And makes that's part of his income. He's a old school farmer living off the land. Kasia, we don't know for sure that CJ won't have any snaps. It felt like from D'Amico's comments to me that he was hinting at CJ probably not playing snaps just by the way he answered. He just answered, well, when asked about CJ, he said there's a few guys that are going to get some rest. So I don't know. Maybe CJ will play. Let's see. Retired Rose says, I love the real maple syrup. Bring some back with you. I should be helping him and selling it on the internet because the prices he's charging compared to what they'll charge you for farm-grown maple syrup in the grocery stores is ridiculous. And it's really good. It's the best damn syrup I've ever had. Starting a line should be able to do very well versus twos. And that's the other question is just what are the Vikings going to do? Because J.J. McCarthy's going to play. And I do like the idea of they're going to find out real quick if even with a bunch of the backups on the Texans defense, just how well he can avoid turnovers. So I'm more excited about this first preseason game than I probably should be because, preseason doesn't matter, this, that. It matters. I think Jalen Noel and Jaden Higgins are a big deal this year. And those guys just going through the entire process, getting all that done. I'm excited to watch that. Vikings have a good second-team defense. The Vikings, I think, and just in their ability to, half their second-team defense is former Texans, as we learned very early on last year with a certain linebacker interception. A low power mode. As far as the defense goes, guys that I am excited to see, Jalen Smith, obviously, because I think he's done some good things in camp. They'd love to have more versatility with maybe what they do at the slot corner position. You can move around Jalen Petrie that much more if you've got a few more defensive backs that you feel good about and when you need true cover guys. Jaden Reed's been banged up and has missed some time in camp, so I don't know if we'll see him or not. He becomes somebody very interesting when we talk about the C.J. Gardner-Johnson injury. Did I say Jaden or Jalen? I give up anymore. They're all J to me. They're all J. It looks like you're unclothed and afraid. Yeah. Hey, Frank, it wasn't just Cashman and Grenard. It was, what's his name? The other linebacker as well, who himself, remember, had a scary injury where everybody was huddled around him on the field a few years back, and he ended up being all right. Retired Rose says, Seth, you're getting a real tan. Looks good. That implies that I've had a fake tan once in my life. What are you talking about? Do you mean more of a tan? I'm not there yet. I'm not coloring my hair yet either. Although I've gotten a little bit more gray than I thought I had. I got my hair cut the other day, and I berated the hairdresser for allowing that much gray onto the floor. Let's see, Cashman and Grenard. And I think that's about it. I don't want to ramble on anymore. I got to get down and watch the Astros on Apple TV. If you weren't aware of it, it's an Apple TV night tonight for the Astros. Everybody have a good one. I'll check in with you. Oh, before the game, pregame tomorrow. We got pregame starting at noonish. Let's call it noonish. I'll have Sean tell me. If I'm not on, one of you guys just let me know. And then obviously some good football in the afternoon with your